Hello everyone! Recently I got this neat little airbrush paint set. This is the first time I see something like this, so I want to take a peek at it before I start using it. And I will take this chance to tell you what these paints are like and if they're worth buying. Let's open it up. And we see a bunch of army painter colors. And the little manual here, it tells us that we need to shake our paints. Well, yeah, never would have guessed. Also, we have some instructions on how to work with the brushes and how not to work with the brushes. Well, that's really nice. Quite a few people don't know that. And we even have an army painting guide here, very useful. If you are just starting your miniature painting journey, it is going to come in real handy. And there is a lot of other stuff here, let's not spend too much time on it. But it's nice to see Army Painter actually take care of regular people like you and me. Quite unlike GW, who just sell you the paints and say, well, you're on your own now. Of course, GW includes tweezers and cutters and all sorts of other stuff to clean up molding defects, but it would be nice to have a manual as well. So, to start with, we have here a grey matte primer to start off your painting process. If you are watching this, you probably know that you need to prime your miniatures before painting. But just in case, if you assembled your mini and it looks something like this, don't start painting yet. Cover it with the primer first. Usually I use can primer, like this one. It's just an example, there are many primers out there. From many different companies, Games Workshops included. But this primer is nice, since it's meant for an airbrush, so I can handle it with more precision. This is a lot of primer, by the way. I can paint a bunch of stuff with it. The bottle has a nice nozzle. Well, only GW has problems with their bottles. What are these bottles, by the way? Take a look at it. All of the stuff collects here and it, gets dry and you lose quite a bit of paint just opening and closing the bottle. It's terrible. I like Vallejo much more in that regard. Sure, they don't have all the same colors, and Games Workshop colors fit a lot better for GW minis, obviously. That's all true, sure. But that doesn't change the fact that their bottles are just awful. I recommend you either pour them into different bottles or use matching colors from other companies. And here we see that Army Painter has proper nice bottles. A bit different from Vallejo, a bit larger, as you can see here. They're 18 milliliters compared to Vallejo's 17. How many colors do we have here, by the way? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, plus a bottle of primer. Not bad at all. Can't tell you for sure how much it costs, the price differs quite a bit. But let's take a look at what colors we have here. I'll take this notebook. It's perfectly white, so we can see all of the colors just as they are. Oh, I tried shaking just now and it has a ball inside. Can you hear that? That's very nice compared to Games Workshop, for example. I wonder why nobody else does it. This ball is awesome to have, it helps mix it better. Helps raise all of the heavy pigment from the bottom and makes it easier to understand how well you mixed it. I usually put one inside myself, so it's nice to have one from the start. You can also use Vortex mixer or something like that, but it's quite expensive and, to be honest, not really necessary. So, here we have Air Skeleton Bone. I won't use an airbrush here, it would take all day with all the cleaning. I'll just spread a bit of paint on the paper so you can see how it actually looks like. Well, calling a color skeleton bone is nice and all, but it doesn't really look the part. Still, it's a very soft and washed out sort of bone color. Probably very convenient to work with. Especially if you have a huge skeleton army, grave lords for example. Or osiarchs, or any other bony undead army. I think that would come in real handy for anything like that. Though GV has richer colors, which I don't have though. I use a different technique for bones with sandy and white colors, but the ready-made bone color for an airbrush is nice to have. Also, the paint is pretty thin as it is, so you don't have to add anything. You can use it with an airbrush, just out of the box. The box doesn't lie. Next we have Deamonic Yellow. I expect it to be like Everland Sunset. Or maybe Uriel Yellow, this one. So let's compare and see. I once done an unboxing and review of some GV colors, and one of the commenters thanked me for finally explaining what those were like. So today we are figuring this box out as well. Pretty bright, I like it. Almost like an egg yolk. Let's compare it to the other two colors, so we can see what it's like exactly. First, let's do a Uriel Yellow here. It's a lot brighter, obviously. But it's not a main color after all. It's meant for layering and highlighting and stuff. So it is a lot brighter. But if we take Everland Sunset, which is a base color for many yellow minis, in the end, Army Painter has the most yellow of the base colors. But other colors are also useful. Uriel Yellow and Everland Sunset are just meant for different things, you know. There would be a huge difference depending on the mini, but this yellow, it's beautiful. So let's take a look at the next paint. Here we have Leather Brown. Yeah, looks more or less like brown leather. Nothing special here. I don't know, there are many different browns. And this one is not really different in any meaningful way. Here we have a white. Made white, I assume. Let's test it. Testing white on white is a little bit weird, I know. But Vallejo, for example, has amazing covering power. And I just want to see what this color is like in that regard. I screwed this up a bit. My brush was still covered in brown. But it's even better. Now we can try to cover this up. The white is almost invisible on a white sheet. So I'd say it's a pretty good white. Especially for highlighting. Will Vallejo cover this white? Well, I understand that I understand nothing. I mean... I think... I'm testing white on white here, so I'm just being stupid, really. But I think I can see that when you use Vallejo here, it seems to be whiter and seems to cover better. Next up, what do we have here? Barbarian Flesh. Infamous human skin color. This color is very similar to GV Bugman Glow. It's a bit like skin, but more like tanned skin, I think. Next, let's look at... uniform grey. Probably the favorite color of the Death Corps of Krieg. Like if you don't need ammo to fight, just your faith in the God Emperor. It's a nice grey. Nothing much to it. I honestly expected something magical here. I know that GV has some interesting colors. For example, Runelord Steel is an interesting new metallic. Or Tesseract Glow from the 9th edition color pack, it is absolutely stunning. Here, I don't see anything special. The interesting part here is that it is meant for an airbrush, I guess. Now for the metallic, plate mail metal. Let's see how awesome it is. Generally, metallics aren't used with airbrushes much, but I think it's a mistake. We have a wonderful Vallejo color just for that. Now let's see what we have here. Looks great, and it's really thick as well. This is a really good metallic. Let's let it dry a bit. It's a bit shiny and looks real good. You can totally use it on your Necrons or something. After that, we have pure red. Looks a lot like Evil Sun's Scarlet through the bottle. Or whatever that orc color is called. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But this looks just like that. Oh, I was wrong. This is pure Mephiston red. Yeah, it's bright and juicy. Let's take a look at some actual Mephiston red for comparison. Well, when we look at them side by side, the difference is very noticeable. Army Painter red is normal, you know, just absolutely normal red. And the GV color is just blood. It's just pure arterial blood. Only blood for the blood god is bloodier, but, you know, Mephiston red is for machines, so yeah. Well, it's up to you to decide which red to use, you know. Next is Ultramarin blue. We'll compare it to Macrec blue, since these are supposed to be the same color, I guess. So let's figure this out. I still am so happy about the ball inside the bottle. I mean, Games Workshop, how much do you spend on one of these bottles anyway, huh? Here I have a ball which I've put inside myself. Since GV, you know, didn't bother. Okay, let's begin with Army Painter. While it's drying, let's try Macrec blue. I think it's already noticeable then the GV color is a lot darker. It makes me wonder, is it because the shade is darker, or is it because their paints are made for an airbrush and come pre-themed? Maybe the Games Workshop one is just more concentrated, you know. So you really need to try this on miniatures, you will only be able to tell with practice, you know. The brand doesn't really matter here. Anyway, next up is Greenskin. I think everybody knows what fantasy creatures this paint is meant for. And it will work for non-fantasy orcs, goblins and the like as well, you know? It's pretty bright, I like it, it's very juicy. But, you know, mellow enough not to look garish. So you can use this to paint even 3000 orcs, you know. Well, 3000 points orc army at least. You'll lose your mind painting 3000 orcs. If you paint that many, you won't even want to see them anymore, let alone play with them. So be careful with your Christmas wishes before you find yourself painting 3000 Gretchens. Now, Alien Purple. I'm not sure if they do that intentionally, but Army Painter has an interesting naming convention, because purple aliens in 40k are Gene Stealers and Tyranids. So this color is for them specifically, I suppose. But, you know, nothing prevents you from using this purple on fantasy minis as well. Purple has this aura of something otherworldly, something unnatural. So it is often used to paint anything you want to look, you know, unusual or something like this. Or on some mythic creatures, you know. I hope I'll find a use for this in the future. It's a wonderful, gentle purple color. It would surely fit the Gen Stealers perfectly. You can use it for many Gen Cult miniatures and Tyranids. Awesome and mellow color. I also recommend green and red, you know. Yellow is also not bad, I like it a lot. But we still have one color to go, it's matte black. For me, the best black is Abaddon black. GW also has chaotic black or chaos black, can't remember how exactly it's called. Never used it anyway, since I'm perfectly fine with Abaddon black. It's perfectly black and covers nicely. Now let's look at the one from Army Painter. Well, looks so-so. Yeah, you can't compare this to regular GV paints. This is an airbrush color after all, well, black is black. Looks almost grey, really. I'm not sure how it looks on the camera, but yeah. And if I open Abaddon Black here, you see how black this is. But that's likely because these colors are airbrush colors, you know. And them and specifically for an airbrush, and they will look different on the minis, you know, when you get the end result. And that's about it for this set. Let's get to the conclusions. Yellow and red are simply magnificent. I also like purple and green. Ultramarin seems neat. Skin is, well, it's alright. We usually don't draw too much skin. Very bright and cool metallic we have here. And it gives a nice flare, by the way. Take a look at it. Very nice if you want to brighten something up. Though it's not really meant for it. It's supposed to be a base color, right? It can be a little bit weird, I guess. Brown will work on like Space Marine bags. But it's weird to use an airbrush for it. So you usually don't want to do it like this. Bone color is exceptional. Highly recommended as base color. All in all, this box. Army Painter Warpaints Air Starter Set. I would give it like, you know, 8 out of 10. If I gave out scores, that is. Oh, we have this here as well. Let's see. I would give it 8 out of 10, just because it would be hard to use these colors as base. especially with brushes, but they're great for the airbrush. And as we know, not everyone has one. But whatever, you know. So these are the colors we have. Army Painter offers us a nice box. And this box we see there's all of the colors batched together. All in all, if you have no airbrush paints, this set is just what you need. If you already have some, you can get some variety here. There are a lot of purples, but this is the first time I see the one just like this. Ultramarines will look great with this ultramarin color. Gilliman's boys will look nicer with this color than some darker one, you know. Darker one can be safe for dreadnoughts and stuff. By the way, if we look on this paper slip carefully, it tells us how to paint with an airbrush, and I think Army Painter knows what these colors are for, right? This is a blood angel, isn't it? Well, that's it for now. Like, comment, subscribe, and always remember, the Emperor protects.